Hey, New York Jet fans from all around the world. Welcome to Laugh Through the Turbulence, a New York Jets podcast, the show that delivers you all your Jets content. Here are your hosts, John, Adden, and Monty. All the best to the New York Jet fans. J-E-T-S, Jets, 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 go Jets.
All right, happy.
All right.
Yeah, it's happy Wednesday.
Yeah.
It is
Hump
May
day.
29th, 2024. Some news in the Jets world today. I guess we could start with just how everyone's doing today. How's everyone doing today?
Doing well. I went to Chicago for the long weekend. Won $1,900 gambling. So it was
hell yeah!
It was a good weekend.
What were you playing?
3-card poker and blackjack.
Interesting. I never play free. I never play 3-card. I play either Hold'em or blackjack or
I usually don't play 3-card, but it's just like sitting in a poker room is such a time suck.
It is.
It was kind of like let's do something that's faster. So but it worked out, But I agree. Usually I don't play that.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Do we need to bring back on Degenerate Mike to basically help us with the definition of what poker games are, or no? Yeah. That would be. Whatever happened to Todd? Remember Todd? Was it Todd, the guy from the live show?
Oh yeah. I think it was Todd. Yeah, I think it was
Todd. Anyway, Todd, message us at some point. We'll try to get you on, whatever. But anyway, I guess we'll start with the breaking news today, or should I say Shabbat Shalom. Tarik Cohen signed the New York Jets. I mean, he's not Tariq. My name just screams Jewish, right?
I know, right? L'chaim.
I mean, Cohen does, right? But does Tarik? I don't know if that's
it's like
traditional
the two opposite,
name, right?
It's like yeah.
Monty and I know Tarik. I believe that Tarik is.
He's Turkish or something like that. Yeah.
Let's not speculate. Let's move on. Let's move on before we get in trouble.
Yeah. But anyway, it's kind of an interesting move. I know. I mean, this is just interesting news because it's like it's another running back, right? But he's not really a run. I guess being pulled in to be a running back, right? Because I mean, they drafted two. They drafted Izzy last year, and Brees is a megastar in the mix, right? Waiting, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. When I saw this, I mean, Adnan I was kind of hinting towards it, and then I had Adnan figured out in our group chat. But basically, this is a Gibson replacement potentially, isn't it?
Yep. So we talked about it a little bit. I know I brought up some of the stats in our little discussion too. The Jets were tied for 4th or 5th, I believe. I believe it's 4th. Let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Tied for 4th with 3 fumbles last year at punt return. So maybe that wasn't really acceptable. Although the rest of our stats, like total yards, long returns, we had that one, I think 65-yarder that was a return for a touchdown. We were mostly, upper middle of the pack in terms of the rest of our stats, like average yards, average return yards, stuff like that. But yeah, it definitely seems like it's at minimum hey, Gibson, get your shit together signing, because, on the other hand, Tarik's been out of the league for a while. I don't think he's played ball in like 2-3 years. So it's a little bit of an interesting, because when he was at the height of his career, he was all pro returner or Pro Bowl returner.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. He was either all pro or Pro Bowl, minimum all pro returner. So it's I like the move if for no other reason than to, what's the worst that could happen? He might not even make the roster. If he does make the roster, then that means he's back to form. If he doesn't, we don't lose anything, and we won't be any worse off at that role next year. I don't know. What do you think, Adnan?
Yeah, I think I echo kind of everything you said. One of the things I did see is a couple of the guys on the Jets beat on Twitter. I think it was Connor Hughes and Zach Rosenblatt. Maybe Sabini said it as well, that they're looking at him to compete with Gibson. So that is kind of what they're looking at from him, mainly because they believe with the new kickoff rules, they're going to have a minimum of 100 kick returns this season. So they want somebody back there who they can really rely on. And I think, Monty, your point about those fumbles, 3 fumbles, that is massive. That's why they were 4th in the NFL there. And so I think, any competition they can bring in, Gibson is still a young player. So, I'm sure there would be opportunity to move him onto the practice squad. But we said it, right? Like after the Buffalo game in that long return, he didn't really do too much that was special in the return game. Consistency, yes. Special, no. Where a healthy Tarik, I think, can give you absolute special. And also, he didn't show a lot as a receiver, right? So I feel like if there's maybe an undrafted guy that they like or somebody shakes loose, after June 1st cuts or, during camp, he could be a guy that's out of the rotation because everything I'm seeing is Brownlee is getting better and better and better every day. I think Gibson is the one who could be the odd guy out, at this very early stage in OTAs.
Yeah, just a real quick kind of clarification or just kind of full disclosure is that there are 5 other teams that were tied for the same amount of fumbles as us. However, we are still solidly a top 10 team in terms of the amount of fumbles that we had last year. So either way, it's not acceptable. But I just wanted to.
I was checking out the PFF grades. Whoa, just to kind of see where Gibson ranked, right? I mean, he's basically middle of the pack according to his grades, right?
As the Jets were by stats.
And obviously, if you take out the the very special game that Tarik had, which basically, how I put it, gave us really, made us fall in love with Gibson a little bit, right? If that's fair. Because he was the Hard Knocks feature, right? And he probably wasn't going to make the roster, and then he did make the roster, right? Let's just say this: if we take out both the Week 1 game, right? His return grade for the year on the kick returns was a 50, and then a 53.7 on the punt returns, which would be below middle of the pack, right?
Right.
When you obviously include Week 1, which is just the full regular season, right? The grade just bumps up, right?
Yeah.
But so it's funny, like special teams, it's more about keeping the fucking ball at this point, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think what games he muffed, right? Was it the Denver game? Denver, he muffed one, right? Is that right?
Yeah, and I think, didn't he muff a kickoff or a punt against the Chargers, I believe it was, that was huge. And it allowed the Chargers to go up. I think it was 14-0 in that game.
Yes,
yeah,
correct.
So it was like,
I remember that now.
It wasn't just like that he lost the ball. It was at the worst times, So I think that's and I think he had one on an opening kickoff. So yeah, it wasn't great. But continue, John.
Yeah, but it sucks, man. Because we were at Week 1, right? That was one of the most exciting things we've ever seen in our lives, right?
That turned the tide.
Just Gibson just running it in and just ending the game like that, right?
Yeah.
In overtime, after everything they went over, went through.
Yeah.
That game, that was one of the most exciting things that I've never seen MetLife just shit its pants like that, but totally shit his pants, right?
Yeah. Definitely a roller coaster of emotions. It
was well, John. I think just to compare that, I think it was almost. I think that moment. And the Decker touchdown in 2015 in overtime, I think that was up there also.
The difference with that game, though, to be totally fair, was that it was half Patriot, half Jet fans of that game because
that's fair. No, fair.
But this MetLife game, if you remember the stadium, it was 95% Jets.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%.
Yeah, we actually had a home field advantage that day, right? And then, obviously, as the season wore off, it kind of started going the other way, right? as it normally does, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Tarik Cohen will teach Gibson some things. Maybe that's more.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good. It's never bad to have like knowledge and to have someone who's really good at something, in the room. You know what I mean? Like to have that veteran presence, that veteran experience. But you know what? Another thing that's worth mentioning is the rules are totally different next year.
Yeah.
For kickoff. You know what I mean? It's more like the what was it, like the XFL rules now?
Mhm.
So kickoffs are going to be a totally different thing, like, and they don't have that big of a gap where they're running at each other anymore. So it's like, we could theoretically see kick returns by like more established players. I think, like, I wouldn't be shocked if you see someone like Brees back there, because it's not the same level of risk as it was previously.
Yeah,
But
and I
to
think
be totally fair with Cohen, though, he's only the last time he actually really returned a kick has been 2020, right? And
Yeah.
that season was injury shortened, right?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's been 3 years since he was even really
Right.
relevant.
And even that year, he had one return.
But I think that's why they're kind of looking at him, because I don't think he's going to be able to contribute at running back, to be totally honest, right? I think Brees, obviously, and then the three young guys, they're going to be more equipped to contribute there. The thing with Cohen is when he's back there, you're hoping to catch lightning in a bottle 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
Right. And I think he can provide that with his experience, maybe a little bit more than Gibson can right now. So it's going to be interesting. And just side note, Monty, kickoff strategy or kickoff return strategy is going to be really fascinating, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you're down a score in the fourth quarter and there's 6 minutes left, do you put Brees and Garrett back there? Like what is your strategy in those moments? So it's going to be really interesting. We'll definitely dive into that down the road. But yeah, I think Cohen is interesting, and we'll see if he has anything left in the tank. One thing that was interesting, just on a quick side note, he was contributing a lot in OTAs today. Like he just signed, and he's catching passes out of the backfield. He returned it, so they're ramping him up. So we'll see.
Can you guys? I just want. Actually, this is kind of crazy because I didn't realize what his age was. Does anyone know how old Tarik Cohen is?
He's like 30, 31.
What do you think, Adnan?
27.
Adnan's actually closer, which is crazy. He's 28 going on 29 this summer.
That's okay.
Oh, yeah. I thought he was 30. I
thought he was 30. Right? It feels like Tarik Cohen's been around for a long time, right?
100%. Yeah.
Maybe he joined the league young or something.
2017, he joined the league. Yeah.
Okay.
2000. That's I would have thought it was before then.
Dude, I know.
That's crazy. So 7
I
years.
He was older.
He was 21.
Yeah, that's what I said. So he was fairly. He was kind of young getting in the league.
Yeah,
21 is pretty young.
It's crazy though, right? That's kind of so like.
No,
he's kind of at that age where like. I mean, obviously the injuries, right? If you didn't have the injuries, this would be like the ceiling.
This would be the prime. Yeah, he'd be kind of getting to. Interesting.
That makes it a little more interesting. I kind of like it a lot more now.
No, I don't hate it. And look, if he somehow is miraculously 90% and he can contribute out of the backfield, I think he does solve that lack of experience in the backfield. Now, one more note on it.
Yeah, it's a flyer with a lot of upside.
It is, but I think one thing that this does, and I hate to say because he's our guy, like, I don't know what they think about Izzy.
Yeah,
I love him. I think he's really good. He's explosive.
He's really fast.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, drafting 2 running backs in one draft and then signing Cohen. Like, I don't know, man.
He might end up being good.
He might end up being a practice squad guy, and I hope he'll probably want to be one of the practice squad guys they can protect, like him and Gibson, but it's not looking great for him. And like with these 2 young guys, if they start showing things, his long-term NFL future may not be with the Jets.
Which we'll get to that because some of that's happening already.
Yeah.
Aren't we glad we didn't buy those Izzy jerseys?
We love Izzy, friend of the show.
Yeah,
We
friend of the
want to
show.
have him back on for sure. He
Yeah.
was fun, but like, this is a really, really tough day for him. I think it's been a tough draft for him. If I were him, I'd be
It's
frustrated.
been a month, right? It's only been
Yeah,
a month.
it's
This
been
is
a month.
happening. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm number 2.
Yeah, and,
Getting third down work. What? Oh shit!
Yeah, it's only been about a month since the
yeah.
draft.
So I think it's
and
literally been like exactly a month.
been a
and
month
it's,
since the draft, and
it's
it's
day 3, right? The draft was on the 27th.
yeah,
Is that
so
right?
yeah. So it's
definitely getting assaulted on all sides.
yeah, but listen, I mean, he'll say all the right things, he'll do the right things. He's a hard worker, he's a good kid. So I think like there's upside there.
Yeah.
I would just, and the Jets said all the right things. We love Izzy, but we carry 4 running backs, said all the right things. And then they bring, so we'll see. But, if I were him, I'd definitely be frustrated.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do we want to talk about the topic that you wanted to bring up last week, Adnan? I mean, some of it's been kind of solved if you really think about it. Because Adnan made the point last week, and maybe Joe Douglas heard us, whispering about a lack of experience outside of Brees
Yeah, let's go into that
in the RB room, but maybe that just got solved, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I'll let you go. I'll let you go at it before I tear you apart.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's, my concern is this, right? And maybe Cohen is that guy. Braylon Allen, it looks like, has been getting all of the work with the first team in OTAs, which is great. And I think he's a beast. Like, I love him, and I was really happy they drafted him. I just, a little piece of me is, Brees misses a game here, a game there. Can this running game be functional with Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, and either Tarik Cohen or Izzy, right? Like, that's my only concern, is just that experienced running back that you can say, hey, if Brees is out, let's have experienced guy X and Braylon carry the load, right? So I think that will be my only concern, but I do like, everything going on in the running back room, especially what I've seen from Braylon Edwards so far in OTAs. He's the real deal. He's only 20, which is insane.
Yeah.
He's so young. And I think like playing in Wisconsin, playing in those big games. I mean, he was starting at Wisconsin when he was 17. Like, he's a special player. So I'm really psyched about him, but I would love just one experienced guy that they could turn to, if something were to happen. That's my only thing there.
Yeah, I mean, so with the experience, I'll let you get the last word there, John. But like with the inexperience thing, I mean, listen, running back has always been and mostly is a young man's game, right? That's the league has effectively devalued the position significantly. They're not, leaning on running backs like they used to. They're not, giving them the contracts they used to. And, it's more of a throwing league, a lot of pass catching backs, a lot of running back by committee. So I don't know if it's as important for a running back to be experienced or the room to be experienced. I think it's just more important for there to be the talent, because it's just, I think talent just wins at the running back position. We already are seeing Braylon Allen, the reports are that he's looking great actually as a pass catcher. He's shifty in open space. He can catch balls. And in addition to that, he's an absolute monster. He's like what, 6'1", 220, whatever the hell he is. Absolute jacked beast. So like, and then now I'm here. Now he can catch passes too. Was he Derrick Henry? Like, this is craziness. So like, I'm not even slightly worried. I think that, like I said, leagues devalue the position enough. I think we have enough youth and talent. I think we tried to go the veteran route last season with Dalvin Cook. That didn't really pan out. We have a veteran now with Tarik Cohen. If that pans out, if not, who cares? I'm not worried at all. I think we just need more talent and bodies in that position and in that running back room than we need age and experience. I think age and experience is for positions like tackle, quarterback, maybe even wide receiver a little bit more with like running routes and like, having that heads up IQ, not for running back as much.
So let me just ask this, Sean, before you go. I'm looking at, as of May 24th, the best of remaining running back free agents. Kareem Hunt is out there. I mean, if you could have a backfield of Breece Hall, Kareem Hunt, Braylon Allen, and then you have young depth with Davis and Izzy, and a guy like Cohen to be the fourth running back.
You don't need those draft picks anymore. Those 2 draft picks you made. Maybe one of them, but you didn't need both of them. And then Izzy last year.
Right. So I mean, but I think also, right, you're stacking talent at the position. But like, I'm looking at this list, not really inspiring. The only 2 names I'm looking at that are available, Cam Akers is kind of interesting, and Kareem Hunt. Right. Yeah. So like, one of those 2 guys, if you could swing that, especially Hunt, to be that second guy, like, I think that would be amazing. Any issues that he has, I think Rodgers can keep him in line, for at least a season. So that's the only thing that I would say. But I think
Hunt's just an off-roster Browns backup at this point.
I mean, he's a great kicker too.
He's gonna be there for. He's just gonna sit there for when a Browns running back gets hurt again.
Exactly, and then they'll sign him and he'll rush for 800 yards in 12 games. Right?
I feel so bad for Kareem Hunt, man. I mean, like,
he should have been a starter somewhere.
You know the whole story, right? So like, he obviously kicked the woman right in the head, right? And I guarantee she must have said something. You know what I mean?
Dude, no way,
man. Stop with that.
White girl would say to a black man.
No way, man. You still don't.
No way, bro.
There's no.
That does not justify taking.
There's nothing you can say to someone that justifies that. You can't excuse that.
Okay, I understand. I agree with you. But I'm saying she must have went really above and beyond to do something.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Maybe she did. Maybe she didn't. But it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay, but then I remember Kareem had a DUI not too far after that, right, or something like that. Or he got pulled over by the cops and he was like crying in his car that he should have been in the Super Bowl with the Chiefs that year.
Oh, basically. Did he? Oh wow, I didn't know that.
I'm like pretty certain on that one, but like,
you do the crime, you got to do the time, man. So
but he did get redemption. He got to go back to Cleveland, which it was his hometown, basically, right? It's some sort, he's from that area, right? I think the Browns are going to just sign him back. I mean, like,
that's what I'm saying.
Nick Chubb destroyed his fucking leg beyond what most running backs do, right? That was disgusting what happened to Nick Chubb. And which is why I see all these like NFL running back rankings, and they still have Chubb listed as 4th, right? Which, in all right, if that guy is fucking healthy, absolutely, he's one of the best up and down runners in the fucking league.
If he's 90% of what he was, he's still a top 10 guy.
Right.
I don't know that anymore though, because his knee went like the other way around. It didn't make any sense what happened to his knee.
Well, he had that injury once before.
Yeah, he did.
He had an injury in college.
Yeah, in the U. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I think look, Monty's totally right. Running back's a fucking young man's game at this point, right? They're really, when it comes to like veteran experience that is required at that position, I believe it's more so on the pass blocking duties that requires veteran experience and knowledge, right?
Like Zeke.
Versus like, if you have the ball, you know what to do with it, right? Go forward, take fucking contact, and be fucking fresh so that you can do that, right? So and most of those, I would say, outweigh the pass blocking stuff, although there is pass blocking needs, especially with a very older quarterback, right?
Who doesn't run around.
Who doesn't run around, right? But I think they'll be. I enjoy it. There's youth there, and now a little bit of veteran this back there. But real quick, just before we get into that, I just want to show once again a shirtless picture of Braylon Allen. Real quick. That's not it. That's it right there. Real quick. Then just look how fucking. I mean, he's not totally shirtless, but just look how fucking ripped he is. It's fucking absurd.
No, absolutely. And what I would also say, John,
I think this is him too. Yeah, it's fucking absurd, dude. It's
that was Nick Wright.
Yeah, to add to your point, though, John, Braylon Allen, I'm almost positive graded out as the best pass blocking running back in this draft.
Yeah, he did.
Great news.
Yeah. And then also I also want to show an image of Tarik Cohen doing a backflip while standing straight up, if that's cool. Just real quick. Yeah, why not? All right. Just because Jets Media did this real quick. I mean, just look at him fucking flip around.
In full gear, too.
Standing,
full gear. Yeah.
Standing, and like, what the hell?
Yeah, Tarik Cohen is
the guys. I mean, that's just all the explosion, right?
Yeah.
That's what that shows. And I think, listen, if he can get back some semblance of his form with his speed and some people look, Devin Hester was fast, but he was just a natural instinctive kickoff returner, right? And like certain people just have that knack to be able to see a hole before it happens, hit it, and just be gone. And I think Cohen brings a lot of that experience. So it's definitely going to be interesting.
Okay. Question for you. This is a little off topic for the Jets, but it's best guy with ball in hands finding hole and getting into the end zone. Okay. You know what I mean?
You couldn't have picked a better way to describe that.
Could be a kick returner, could be a punt returner, could just be a total yak machine.
Are we talking history or
history of the NFL? Yeah, history of the NFL. I have a couple names in mind, but I kind of want to see what you guys come up with first. Jesus. I mean, because you might go Devin Hester.
I mean, Sanders.
No,
which one?
Barry Sanders.
But you know what though?
Dion
too, but Barry was real shifty.
But hold on, but dude,
and had no blocking.
But that's the thing though. Barry, like, he made things out of nothing. If the question is 100%. Who sees the hole, who smashes it and goes, there are other guys. I think like a guy like Dion. Yeah, I think you could look at a guy like I think that's something Christian McCaffrey does really well. He's a one cut and hits it and goes. You don't see him dancing a lot, so he's one of those guys. I think you look at a guy, and I'm using recent examples, a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Breece Hall is like
Breece
that
Hall,
as well.
I was just gonna say right now. But if we're talking history,
we're
talking history,
and even Beaton is like that too, man.
Hester's up there too. I mean, that's why he did what he did.
I go with the Sanders is Barry and Dion.
Barry is my pick though.
Yeah, but for some reason I had a special thought about Dante Hall. That 1 year, 4 returns in 4 games, basically.
Yeah, he was.
Where he caught the ball at the 2-yard line against the Broncos, went backwards into the end zone, and then somehow ended up in his end zone.
But I think we could say Deshaun Jackson too. Then some of his punt returns, that one against the Giants,
he was
to end the game and walk it off. Yeah, dude, like
he was a burner. He was a burner.
Amazing too. So there are a lot of guys that have been really good at that. But yeah, I think, I just, you know what, I'm going to be honest. I know that, and again, I know this is off topic, kind of what we're talking about now. Like, man, Dion as a coach has really tainted my view of him as a player. I know it's not supposed to be that way, but the way I watch him act at Colorado, what he's doing, I don't know. That just like, I'm like, dude, it just rubs me the wrong way. And it makes me be like, I don't know about Dion, but he was great, deserved everything
not
he
care.
got. But
Dion's still prime to me.
The only one that I just keep coming back to is Barry Sanders. I just don't know, like, yes, he had that ability to do it, but man, some of those runs when he would just be like in the backfield for 30 seconds making people miss and then turn that into a touchdown. That is special.
Run where he really made a guy just to a 360 and fall.
Yeah.
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 Without contact, it's just.
Now, real quick, I want to go back to what Adnan just said about Dion. How is his fucking coaching affecting your view of his legacy as a player now?
It just makes me not like him. And when I don't like somebody, that just hates I have a hard time being objective towards.
So you can't really
I
separate the art from the artist.
Yeah, like I look at it and I'm like, you know,
I'm not like that.
I would say
a lot of people are. A lot of people are like that, though. I know a lot of people are.
Yeah, and they're wrong. And they're wrong. Just like Adnan.
But I would say that my opinion isn't wrong. My point of view is that. But on top of it, I would also say where I am on the other side of that, if Dion was like, I'm trying to think of how to if Dion did everything he did with the Jets, I'd be like, Dion's the greatest ever, right? So I think it kind of takes it if he's on my team or not. Listen, I'm not taking it away from him. I'm having a hard time liking Dion. I used to love him. I had a poster of him on my bedroom wall when I was a kid growing up. I used to love Dion, but this,
he's a self-absorbed, loudmouth kind of guy. But I mean, that's why I always kind of like him because he always backed it up. You know, like if you can talk a lot of shit, if you can talk a lot of shit and back it up, that's always entertaining.
He's not backing it up as a coach. Won 4 games last year.
Why do we love Namath? Because he guaranteed a fucking Super Bowl and he got us one.
It up, yeah. Real quick about Dion. All right. So the Jackson State record, right? That's where he really kind of proved himself as a coach, right? But bear in mind, he was able to recruit a lot of different talent, a lot of talent there that would not have gone to that level of school, right? Which is why they were doing so well in Jackson State. And then to shift all the way to the Power 5 D1 with a program that was total dog shit, right? And actually just kind of make them relevant just to begin with. They weren't good last year, right? And it's going to take them a little while, right? It just is. It's going to take Colorado a little while to just do its thing and be good. If Dion is a good coach, right? So I would just give him the benefit of the doubt. Everyone jumped the gun way too early on Colorado, which is more than fine, right? I don't know. I don't think he's that special of a coach either. I think he's a better recruiter. And that's more of the game of college football and all that now than it really is the actual physical coaching. Because the NFL, it's a salary cap league. You have to be smarter than everyone to fucking do it in a budgeted league, right? College football, it's a fucking free for all. It's Wild Wild West, right? Especially now with the NIL.
With the NIL money and the portal.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I see nothing to it. I see nothing to it. All right. Yeah, but whatever. Adnan was wrong. You want me to pull it up again? Because I fucking will.
We went on a big tangent there, by the way. So let's bring it back to the Jets.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna go to the NFL rankings stuff that we saw.
Yep.
All right, cool. So basically, there was a couple of different sites that were doing NFL rankings on the landscape. It was like a power rankings, but it was there was 2 that we looked at. One of them was NFL.com, and then one that actually just came out today was by PFF. Right. Oh, that was good. Okay, so the NFL.com one basically said most complete roster, right? That was basically the headline of the article. They had the Jets listed at 10th, right? And PFF basically did the same thing. They came out later, right? And they did all the fucking real number crunching, took out a lot of the sentimental value to it, right? They had the Jets as the 4th best roster. Okay. And just to kind of go over where the top 10 ranked on each list, right? On NFL.com, the order from 1 through 10 was San Francisco, Baltimore, Kansas City, Detroit, Philadelphia, Cincinnati, Houston, Green Bay, Cleveland, and then the Jets. And then PFF, I mean, it's a long list, but basically their 1 to 10 was at San Francisco again, Kansas City, Philadelphia, the Jets, Ravens, Lions, Texans, Bengals, Cowboys, Bills. And obviously it keeps going. What are anybody's thoughts that any of these lists that mean nothing in the middle of May?
Well, I guess I'll jump in first. So definitely with respect to the NFL article right off the bat, I think that Cincinnati, Houston, Green Bay, and Cleveland are absolutely not better rosters than the Jets. And then when it comes to Detroit, Detroit is a tricky one. It's a possible tie for me with roster because the Lions are more proven in terms of what they've done as a team. They have pretty much, the same team. They're solid from coaching all the way through. On defense, Hutchinson's a beast. They got one of the most solid RB duos in the league. They have a top 5 O line. They have great QB play. Amon-Ra St. Brown's like a top 5-10 receiver. They have a top 5-10, top 5, tight end there in Sam Laporta.
They're getting better in the secondary too.
Yeah, and they improved on their secondary, which was one of their weaknesses. Terrion Arnold is good. So like I like the Lions. For me, it depends on how you look at it. I would say the Jets and Lions are about a tie because of the fact that they're, like I said, more proven and solid in the coaching aspect. And it depends how you look at it, right? So are you looking at it as the offense is one score, the defense is one score, and then like you average them? Because like, for example, the Jets have, I think, a not as good of offense as the Lions do, but our defense is a lot better, right? So it depends on how you aggregating those scores. Are you doing it as one thing? You know what I mean? So it's the Jets are 4 or 5, and the Lions are like 4 or 5, and I think for sure San Fran is number 1. They have just a solid top to bottom roster, great coaching, just proven. They've all played together. O-line's beast. All their skill positions are beast. Defense is beast. Like, there's very few holes in the San Fran roster, so you don't need to spend too much time on them. KC, they were weak at
Mahomes.
Yeah, they got Mahomes, they got Reed. They upgraded at wide receiver, which was one of their big weaknesses last year, was wide receiver. They had a bunch of scrubs, and they still won a Super Bowl. Pacheco's good enough. O-line is good. Kelsey's still got some in the tank. Reed's a genius. Hollywood Brown's a great addition. Like, the KC's solid. The Eagles, Huff and Riddick, the Riddick loss and the Huff game, that's a wash. Defense is still solid there.
Their defense was shaky last year. They went cornerback because the secondary
right
last year.
Exactly. But I still think their pass rush is still solid enough. Still decent at linebacker, not great, but they're not you're right. Their secondary, we'll see how that turns out. But their offense
is really good on that defense.
Their offense
you can say is very good.
Yeah, their offense is still, very strong. They picked up Paris Campbell. I don't know if that's going to make a difference. They still have, Brown and Devontae. So like they're good there. I put the Ravens above us because they get Andrews back. They got Henry. Defense is still strong, on the pass rush with Van Noy and Owe. They got Roquan Smith, who's an absolute beast. Wiggins is a beast. Kyle Hamilton's a beast. You know what I mean? Like, the Ravens, and then, Derrick Henry on offense, and then obviously Lamar, you know what I mean? MVP. So it's tough for me to put the Ravens, especially, and the other part is they're proven. They get deep in the playoffs, year after year. Solid coaching. I like the Ravens, a little more than us in terms of what they've shown and what we know they can do. But other than that, I don't know any other teams that are really better, like Cincinnati, Houston, Green Bay, Cleveland. No shot. Like, Cincinnati's been going through some stuff. Burrow, is great, but hasn't been Burrow. Houston, we kicked the shit out of Houston with fucking Zach Wilson. Like, or no, who did we have starting that game?
It was Zach.
Yeah, it was Zach. We kicked the shit out of Houston with Zach Wilson. They didn't get that much better. They got better, but they didn't get that much better to where our defense didn't get that much worse. Our team got better than their team in the offseason, in my opinion, in terms of how much we increased. Green Bay is solid, but they're still a young team, still figuring some stuff out. Cleveland, they're great on defense. They're close to us, but they're not close to us on offense, in my opinion. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. I don't see any other teams that are really touching us in terms of roster completion, and in terms of preseason talent rank on paper.
Yeah, I want to jump into this.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so let's talk about some of those teams. I think Kansas City and San Francisco, yes, definitely. I mean, they're both in the Super Bowl, right? No fucking question those two, right? Baltimore, they did start losing a lot. I mean, it does fucking matter. I mean, we talked about their O-line when we were not talking about this, right? Two of their guys are ours now, right? That were starters last year, and they lost Zeitler as well, too, who was fantastic. I thought he was the best guard that was available last year, right? So it's a whole new O-line besides Lindenbaum and Stanley, right? Receivers, they had 4 first-round wide receivers last year. Now it's down to 2, right? Or is it 3? And then Devontae Walker, right? Mm-hmm. So they didn't really improve at wide receiver, right? And we saw
but Andrews is back. Remember, he was missing like half the season or more.
Dude, I understand.
That's a big.
Likely did serve well in his place, right? Mm-hmm. During that stretch, right?
Now they have both.
They will have both right now. But what I'm saying is we saw in the Kansas City game last year that, they tried to throw the ball and they fucking couldn't do shit. And their defense, it did lose actually a very important piece. They lost Patrick Queen, right? Because that was sort of that duo with Roquan Smith, right? Yeah. They did lose him to Pittsburgh, and for some reason he didn't go for a lot of money, which was weird. But anyway, I think it's a wash between Baltimore and us. But yeah, I would give them the edge because I like Lamar more than most. To be fair, right? And also we haven't proven to have a quarterback.
Exactly. The proven part is where I give teams the edge.
Okay. We got Cincinnati you talked about, right? First off, Joe Burrow looks like Anakin Skywalker in episode 2. Which is not. I think
that was a fake picture, John. I don't think that's.
I don't care. Right. I don't care. It's accurate. It's accurate. Anyway, if it was a fake picture, so bless the internet. Because I want that to be real, man. I really do. I want him to just say fuck it, man. I'm cool as fuck. I like Joe Burrow so much. It's hard for me to knock down the Bengals when he's there because they did go to a Super Bowl very recently too, right? Yeah,
but they lost Nixon too.
Yeah, Eagles the same thing. They went to a Super Bowl very recently too, and who knows what the Jason Kelce thing's gonna do, right? Because he's gone now, right? I think the Lions. I think you're spot on. But I'd give the Lions the edge because they were a second half away from going to the Super Bowl and potentially beating the Chiefs. Actually,
and their team's pretty much the same. And their team's pretty much the same now.
Yeah, it is pretty much the same, and just better. So I would give the Jets in that maybe let's call it 5 to 8 range, right? I don't think the Texans are better than us. I don't care what anyone says, right?
No, fuck.
It's just Diggs. That's basically all they really. I mean, they added some other pieces too, more mid.
Listen, Diggs is a great addition, but I just still don't see it.
I don't see it yet. Yeah. I thought Cleveland was a little harsh. And the Packers, that was a real one-hit wonder on. I mean, who knows if I think Jordan Love's gonna be great, but that was just very one-hit wondery, I think, right?
I don't know. I think that team's good. I think that team is a good team. I just think they're not there yet.
I mean, did we not go to Green Bay 2 years ago, right? And watch the Jets just trample the Packers, right? And it's pretty much the same team.
No, listen, they're very good, man. They're very young. They're very young. They're a better team than people give them credit for. Continue and then I'll go on my.
I think some teams will figure them out. I think they'll get figured out at some point.
Yeah, don't underestimate Aaron Rodgers' tutelage of Jordan Love, man. That kid is coming into his own. He's got the receiver talent. I think they're going to be a solid team. But again, like you're saying,
I think they got hot at the right time.
They're not us. They're not us now.
And I think they just got hot at the right time. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't think much of these ranking things, to be totally honest. But I think the assessment that PFF did on the whole fucking roster was totally fair. To be totally honest. And I'm just gonna kind of read out loud what they said. What do you think our strength was according to PFF?
Obviously, defensive pass rush.
Pass defense, yes. Coverage and pass
Yeah,
rush.
coverage too. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. Biggest weakness in 2023.
Quarterback, obviously.
O-line.
Oh, O-line. Oh, yeah. Oh, I guess you could put them as a tie, but yeah.
Yep. Okay. X factor for 2024.
Corley. Malachi Corley.
No, Aaron Rodgers, X factor. Jesus.
Oh,
All right. Rookie to watch.
that's Corley.
There you go. Okay. Over under on 9.5 wins. What do they suggest?
Over.
Yep. Yep. Pretty much. I mean, like pretty much everyone that's above them, they're picking the over, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and like actually the Ravens, the first team on this list, they're taking the under on their win total, which is interesting.
What's their total?
Their over under is 11.5, and they're taking the. I think it's high too. I agree with that.
Yeah, because it's probably 11.
It's probably 11. Yeah, I can see that. I really just think it's because I think the Bengals are coming back strong.
AFC still loaded.
Yeah, and they had the over on the. They took the over on the 10.5 win total for the Bengals.
You know,
What do you think? What do you think, Adam?
Sorry.
I think that, like, you know, you guys summed up the teams and everything, but I'm going to look at this from a different perspective, right? Like, 3 years ago, did you think today NFL.com would have the Jets with the 10th best overall roster in the NFL, and that Pro Football Focus, who literally loathes everything the Jets do, would have them as their 4th best team, right? I think I look at this more as, like John said, I don't think these rankings carry a lot of weight, you know, in May, but I think it's just kind of a testament to the roster construction, you know, the building of this team. You know, I know there's been some hits and misses in the draft, but a lot of young players that have been brought in. And I think that is what, when you look at this, can provide some semblance of validation that the Jets have been doing things the right way. You know, and one of the things that I would say is, even with the offensive line injuries, forget about Aaron Rodgers. If Tyrod Taylor was this team's quarterback the past 2 years, they make the playoffs. There's no doubt in my mind about that, you know? And now you have Aaron Rodgers and Tyrod Taylor to fix kind of, right, the most important position in pro sports. You know,
I would say that I think I'm going to say a hot take here with the Tyrod Taylor thing. I think you just said, which I think is interesting. I think the Jets actually only make the playoffs in 2022 with Tyrod Taylor.
Not last year, dude.
Yeah.
But listen, I would.
Schedule was tougher last year. Schedule was much tougher last year.
Hold on. But I would say this: if you look at that Patriots game at home, the Chargers game, the Raiders game, and the Falcons game, if they got this much from the quarterback, they win those 4 games, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Giving you this much, which makes them an 11-win team, right?
Okay.
The year before last, probably same around 11 wins.
Count the game from the year before when Zach was really, really dog shit.
Right, no, but that's what I'm saying.
Is by far Zach's worst year. Like 2023 was not a good year for a quarterback, but 2022 was much worse.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. That's why I think 2022 and 2023, Tyrod takes them to the playoffs, right? Because they just needed, with this team, what they need, and we've said it a million times so far. They need a pro's pro at quarterback. No more amateur hour bullshit with Zach and Tim Boyle and Simeon and Mike White and Josh Johnson and all this trash.
Yeah,
right?
I'm a little more bearish on those points that you just made, just to kind of chime in for a second. I think we don't make the playoffs with Tyrod last year or the year before. I think the year before we had no Breece Hall, and that was a huge loss. And I think last year our offensive line was way too shit for any quarterback to function, unless they were elite.
But again, like 4 of those games were lost because Zach couldn't move the ball anywhere. If you had a quarterback that could make 5 throws in those 4 games combined, they would win those games. Like, how close were they in some of these games with Zach Wilson? And you can't argue that Tyrod isn't better. He's exponentially better than
he isn't
Zach.
better. I don't think he's better enough with the O-line that we had to win all those games.
But Monty,
we would have had to have win all of them to be in the playoffs.
Right,
Because
absolutely.
we had to win. I don't think we win all of those with Tyrod.
But if you're looking at the scores,
I think we're closer or as close. I think so. I think we win 2 more of those.
No, I think they win all 4. I think there's no doubt in my mind they win all 4 of those games because they were again one play.
Yeah, you're counting on Tyrod Taylor, who is a backup, to definitely make that one play in 4 out of 4 situations.
Yeah,
in addition to winning all the other ones. I mean, listen, like there were a couple games where Zach played good. Like I hate to say it, like there were like the Houston game. You know, there were a couple games.
He was great.
Tyrod might not have been that good against Houston. We don't know.
They win that game regardless, right? They smashed them. So
the Atlanta game was really bad. That was
the Atlanta game was bad. The Chargers game was bad. The Raiders game was bad.
Atlanta was where I lost.
And that first Patriots game, man. If you win that game, that changes the whole trajectory of the season. You know, that changes everything, just that one game. And if they got this much from the quarterback, right? So I think that the spots where, and to get back to the rankings, we want to big tangent there. The point is that I think, like, when you look at the team ahead of the Jets, right, in the NFL.com article, I think you guys said I don't think the Texans are better. I don't think the Browns are better. No. I don't think the Packers are better, but they're very interesting. You know, so there are teams that, you know, you look at and you say, and I think a lot of that has to do with trusting Rodgers to stay healthy, right? Like if you were guaranteed a healthy Aaron Rodgers, this is a top 3-4 roster in all of football.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, if you could guarantee me that Aaron Rodgers was going to be guaranteed to last the whole year, like I could convince anyone. I'd be walking around with a boner the whole fucking year. You know, like something like you overdo with the Blue Chews.
It could be it could be a very well a 13-win, 14-win team with Aaron Rodgers. If you guarantee his health for every game, that might be a 13-14 team.
Let me ask you guys this.
I'll tell you what. Maybe I'll amp it up because we didn't get the hits the last time. If Rodgers plays 17 games this year, I will get a Jets tattoo on my ass.
Or no matter what.
I think you're good on that one. I think there's no chance. But you know, I just want to comment on that
because of a bye week that we already got. Like
I just want to comment on that real quick. Like Aaron Rodgers, like, you know, last year was a freak accident because of a totally missed block. And Aaron deciding to extend a play on a thing where at the worst time
going into it, which
you know, it's just like, and before that, like look at Aaron Rodgers' history, man. Like he is a very good, like he's had a lot of injury, but he's not had a lot of like debilitating, season-ending, long-term injury. He's always been able to play. Right? He's always been able to play through. He's always been able to play hurt. He's always been able to play at a decently top at least top 50% of the league level, usually top 10 or top 5. So like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if this injury stuff is really that it should really be that big of a concern. I think it's only a concern because of recency bias and the fact that we just saw him go down for a whole season. So, and he's a little older. So we're thinking that, but I don't think we have that much to be worried about him missing more than the typical amount of games that a player misses at that age, which is like 3-ish games. I think he plays 14, 15 games, no problem.
So I think the one thing that would concern me is, John, when we had Steven on, right? When he was talking about like the thing that goes is if Rodgers, because like the leg that he hurt, the other leg is going to be compensating. I don't know if you guys saw the first picture from like OTAs. His injured leg, you could see how much skinnier it was than his good leg, right? So like that's the only thing that concerns me is like an injury due to overcompensation or overwork on one side because the other side isn't strong enough. So I think that's something that we have to think about, especially for a guy who's 40, right? But with that said, Monty, I do agree with you. I think that last year was a freak injury. It wasn't like he had a lingering hamstring and then he came back and he pulled his calf and then he came back and he hurt his back, like this was just,
he's not an injury prone guy typically,
and it wasn't a lingering injury. So I think we could probably pencil him, like you said, 14, 15 games, I think. And I feel much better if there are games that he can't play, that they're going to Tyrod Taylor, right? Because this is what he's built for, is keeping you afloat, So if Rodgers misses 2 games, why can't Tyrod go 2-0 or at worst 1-1?
1-1, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Just
not a bet. It's not
if he makes 17 games.
Yeah, and then so it's gonna be an interesting ride, and I just think, like John said again, to recap the rankings, I don't think it's that big of a deal right now. I do think, I don't know why, but I feel like they may have another move up their sleeve, like with Dalvin Cook. I don't know what it will be, but I think they aren't standing pat and just being like, this is the roster. I think if they find an area of opportunity to upgrade, they'll do it. So I think this ranking could change just based on the fact that they may not be done adding yet either. So just another thing to think about.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. The money's tight, though. The money's tight right now, though.
They can create a lot of money, right? Like,
the only way they can really do it at this point is with DJ Reed extension.
Yeah, and I mean,
maybe a Michael Carter extension right now, too.
No, they could do a Michael Carter. I was just going to say, they can do a Michael Carter extension also.
Extend them both. I don't want to lose either one of them.
There's 2. There's a couple.
I wouldn't do DJ Reed. I needed just because I know he's the best. He's approaching past prime.
I agree. I think I would prefer Carter because I think he's the best slot corner in football. Right?
Yeah.
If you have the best slot corner and the best outside corner in football, you can look at someone else at that second corner spot. Right? I think they also have an opportunity to restructure Q a little bit. There are moves that they can make to open up money, right?
Can't restructure Q. Not yet. He's not past. Not yet.
It's too. That just happened. Yeah, that's too recent.
But there are moves they can make. Like I'm positive.
Yes, that I definitely.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like
John Franklin Myers one option, but that's gone now.
I remember there was earlier in the season there was 30 million in
that they could have just created.
That they had potential in terms of contract restructuring. So there is some money still there because they didn't make 30 million worth of that yet.
But I told you, Lakin and John Franklin Myers were a big part of that. That chunk that you're talking about, that was movable, makeable, whatever.
They were, but it was also DJ Reed and.
But you know what?
DJ Reed, because Carter's really not a big cap hit right now. He's like $4 million right now.
Right. What I find interesting, and another thing that I would say is, come on, get out of here.
Excellent thought process.
I think something popped up.
Something big was about to come up, and he just really he fucking Aaron Rodgers fourth played it right there, man. Come on.
I'm so annoying. I don't know where this ad blocker came up, but what I will say
you want me to move on? You want me to move on? That's always the solution.
Something that was interesting.
It's falling apart right now, man.
That I did say that I did see
just blew my eye.
Is that I think it was 4 of the top 5 teams last season who had like the most dead cap space. 4 of the 5 made the playoffs. So I think that's really interesting. And so hold on. So yeah, looking at this,
Actually, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because you're probably a complete team if you have.
No, it's not just that. It's that like, hey, like you'd rather just take the L on it and move on, right?
And get it right and move on.
Use it. Use that money on what you wasted your money on. That's what it means.
Yeah. So here's what we're looking at. So this was Zach Rosenblatt in March. What he said is restructuring. You could restructure Mosley and save $10.5 million. You could restructure. Yep. But I'm just reading this out from March. He said you could restructure Q, save $10.6 million. You could restructure Lazard, save $6.5 million, and restructure Quincy Williams and save $3.8 million. Right? Other contract extensions. If you extended Reed, you could create $7.5 million. And if you extended Conklin, you could create $4.18 million. So there are still options on the table for them to be able to restructure, and create some space. So if
I'd extend Conklin, at this point. I like him. He's a good locker room guy, good attitude. He's gotten better every year despite how shitty our team's been. I'm okay with Conklin.
Yeah, same.
And
so
he's not
that,
super expensive.
And then a couple of others. You can create $20 million in cap space if you needed to.
Okay.
So it's interesting.
Okay, real quick. All right. So let's say you make all this space. What the fuck are you going to spend it on right now?
I'm only saying you make this space if there's a move to be made. Right? You're not going to do it now.
One place. All right. We talked about the Jets roster already, right? We've talked about it all over, right? We know that there is literally maybe one real weakness right now, right? On that roster, right? Terms of just like a unit, right? It's probably the safety room right now, if anything, right?
Yeah.
Tight end's pretty good to go, right? We feel pretty good about tight end right now.
Yeah.
We feel really good now about running back. Quarterback, we that whole room's been gutted, minus Rodgers, obviously. We have Rodgers, right? Receiver, we fixed that, right? O-line, it's been totally fucking revamped. You could do a little bit more for the depth, right? But you're not going to do anything major there, right? But safety is probably the one area where maybe you don't feel so comfortable with Tony Adams, Ashton Davis, and Chuck Clark, right?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I think my point though.
I like Davis and Clark though.
But I think
no. But I'm just saying, if you're going to pick a hole on this team right now, would that be the consensus?
Yeah, and also aren't there still a lot of like high price safety stuff?
I mean, Justin Simmons is still available, right?
So yeah, that makes the most sense of where to spend if you had a bunch of money.
Of course, right?
And or you shall not be named at safety. He's still out there. Too.
So yeah, he's not coming back. Yeah. So, but I think my main point is right. If there is a move to be made, if they get to camp, if they're in camp, right, and they see, man, DJ Reed looks awful. Maybe he is on the complete back end of his career. And there's someone that's going to shake loose from a team. They can bring – I'm saying that the restructure option, the ability to restructure gives them – like – they don't have to say we can't afford it, right? That's my point, is there should be nothing out there if they see an upgrade where they can say, we would love to do it, but the cap space, right? So I think that's the point. And a guy like Justin Simmons, man, if you can get him in here, I mean, I don't know if there's a better defense in football.
That's like an all Madden team on defense.
So, and I mean, maybe that is the move to be made. Maybe they're just sitting there saying there are safeties. We need a safety. If Simmons says, you know what, forget it. I'm at the point now where I'll sign for 1 year, $12 million, right? and then figure it out next year. You can make the space. You can do what you have to do, right? So I think that's the point, is that they have the ability to not let money be a reason they don't make moves.
Yeah, and I will say this: you just know what's going to happen if they do get the money. They're probably just going to get another edge guy.
Well, listen,
more pass rush.
Hey, listen, I'd be fine with that.
Salah is definitely going to say that.
But you know what I would also say,
they're
man?
giving Son Reddick's money right now too, right? In theory, because he's still on the 1 year now, right?
Yeah, they could extend him.
That's not even your number right now.
Yeah, you could extend him.
Yeah.
Right.
But I would.
They're probably going to have. I mean, what they
He's
traded
pretty good at football.
Traded nothing for him, basically.
They traded nothing for him, yeah. So it's not like you've invested
No
assets.
obligation.
And you know he's good for another 2 years. You know.
Yeah, I mean, look,
So,
you could extend him. But listen, if they
might as well wait.
if this team's playing with the leads that we think they will be, also another note, I'm sure you guys might have seen this, at least on DraftKings, the Jets are favored in 14 of their 17 games as of right now, right? So, I mean, now
that worries me.
Though, you know, that's kind of what we went with. Though,
when we did our win-loss. Yeah, but I also think, you know,
what games were their underdogs in again? It was San Francisco, a Bills game, a Dolphins game, and one more, right?
That was three at Buffalo, at San Francisco, at Miami. But the caveat with this is 4 or 5 of those games, the Jets were giving 1. So it's basically a pick 'em, right? It's not like they're favored big in every game. Technically, yes, they are favored, but it's a slim margin as of now. So that has to be
as it should be, because you know what's really going to happen is, you know, injuries or whatever that's going to creep in, and that's why I was so bearish compared to you guys on my, you know, prediction of the season, because I know that, you know, a few positions here and there, things happen, and it's just the nature of football. People run into each other, you know, and shit happens. So, you know, it's just you know, it's not that, you know, it's not that I don't think we have the talent. It's that I think that, you know, you have to consider injury, which is a massive factor in football, especially today, you know, where, you know, soft tissue injuries and connective tissue injuries are on a huge rise. I think you just have to assume that that's going to happen at some point, you know, but still, even with that said, we're still I think a 10+ win team.
All right. Hey, just for kicks, you guys want to know where Jets rank in terms of Super Bowl odds according to a gambling website I'm in right now?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. They are tied for 11th in Super Bowl odds right now.
Yeah, I put a futures bet on them.
I did it at plus 3,300, and now they're at plus 2,400. So
I think that's right. I think I got it at like 2,500. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm better at this than you. I'm getting better odds, but okay.
I put it in with a big parlay, but you know,
this is fake. I get better odds, right, all the time, because I know when to play the odds on this one. But anyway, here you go. You got San Francisco's 1, Kansas City 2. They're pretty much neck and neck at plus 550, 600, right? And you got plus 950 Baltimore, plus 1,300. 3-way tie here for Bengals, Lions, and Bills. The Bills, Eagles at plus 1,400. You got Cowboys plus 1,500. I mean, that's just America's team, whatever the fuck that means, right? You got Texans.
Stupid.
Texans plus 1,600. Doesn't necessarily mean they're better. They do have an easier road, right? Packers plus 1,900. Doesn't mean they're better necessarily. They have a way easier road being the NFC, right? Then you got a 3-way tie with Jets, Dolphins, and fucking Falcons at 2,400.
Don't underestimate the Falcons, boy.
Dude, they have an easy path.
They have an easy path and a stacked team.
Yeah,
that's an easy division and a stacked roster, man. Their offense is stacked, bro. Bijan is going to do numbers this year.
Right, but all right, but here's the thing, right? Why the Falcons? Let's just say this: last year on paper, last year the Falcons are relatively healthy across the board, outside of Grady Jarrett, right? And Kirk Cousins came off an Achilles injury also, but it was later in the season, so he's had less time to recover, allegedly, right? Jets on paper last year were a superior fucking team to the Falcons, right? Superior. And this year, definitely a superior team to them, right? On paper. Also, they have a quarterback that's actually won a fucking Super Bowl, right? Why the fuck do they like? Yeah, I get the division and the road, right? Is different, but still, same fucking odds though.
Yeah, but dude, John, you said
the road matters.
But you said the same thing. I don't think the Cowboys are better. I don't think the Packers are better. I don't think the Bills are better. But they have better odds than the Jets.
The road matters,
the Cowboys
man.
and the Packers road is easy.
Better odds are gambling odds. It's basically those are gambling influenced.
Right, but John, like I get it, but like I don't know how you can say your words were, are the Cowboys better? No, but they have an easier road. Are the Packers better? No, but they have an easier road. That's the same exact logic with the Falcons.
Yeah, you know what I want to do? I know the odds are plus 1,500 for the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl. I will give away plus 2,000 odds the Cowboys win the Super Bowl. You put your name in the chat, and basically I'll be your bookie. Okay, I will fucking pay plus 2,000 on the Cowboys Super Bowl odds starting for the next week. Yeah, comment, subscribe, and put a comment in the fucking thing that says that you want to take the bet and how much you're willing to risk.
I like that.
Well, look, I agree. I don't think the Falcons should have the same odds as the Jets. I don't think the Packers should have better odds. I don't think the Cowboys are going to be bad next year, right? We can say whatever we want. They've lost so much. Their offensive line is decimated. Their defense isn't that great. They have one playmaker. The three of us are better than their top three running backs. Like, I don't want to hear a word about the Cowboys.
Wait, did they get Zeke back? Did they get Zeke back or no?
Yeah, it's Zeke. Was it Bell or whatever his name is? And I don't even know who the other guy is.
Vaughn.
And yeah, Deuce Vaughn. Deuce Vaughn is my size. Right?
Yeah, but he's a lot faster and
so
spoiler alert, he is blacker than you. So yes.
So listen,
they still have a decent O-line and CD Lamb and
Lamb and Brandon Cooks, right?
And
so
Cooks
Lamb's really good.
That's a good D, and CD Lamb's a baller.
But listen,
I love CD Lamb.
Yeah, the offensive line's going to crumble the Cowboys, and also the following year they're going to have to start really fucking thinking about how they want to manage their cap.
Right.
Look, Zeke.
Question for you, real quick, before we get into the last top. I mean, we could do the OTA talk next week.
Yeah.
But is there any other franchise that I guess all of sports enjoys having them lose publicly more than the Cowboys?
Maybe.
Steve makes a whole thing about it. Skip Bayless throws the jersey in the trash can every year. They get knocked out.
John, say that question. Say that question again.
All right. Does the national audience enjoy one franchise more than the Cowboys losing? Is there any other franchise that the national audience enjoys watching them lose more than the Cowboys?
Yeah, the Jets.
I don't know about that. I think it's the Cowboys. I think it's the Cowboys.
But no, I think it's the Cowboys are one. Yeah, I agree with that. Actually,
let's do this. Mount Rushmore for all sports. Every sport. So Cowboys are that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess Dodgers might be, and Lakers maybe.
No, the Yankees. Are you kidding me? The Yankees.
Because
people hate the Yankees.
Because the Yankees were like the Patriots of baseball.
So I think it's the Cowboys, the Yankees, the Lakers.
I mean, the Patriots with Tom Brady.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, but I think if we're looking at it now, I think it's Cowboys, Lakers, Yankees, and then I don't know enough about hockey.
It's Rangers and hockey.
Rangers.
Or Maple Leafs.
So you guys want to see something interesting? Okay, so according to ABC Sports, this guy ranked the top 12 current New York athletes. Since we're on this topic, right? Number one.
Wait, no. Wait, can we guess this?
Yeah, good.
Since I don't have this in front of me. Okay.
Yeah, I don't either.
Okay. Is there any criteria like they've had to have been a New York athlete for X amount of time or anything like that?
It's all time.
Aaron Judge. Current. You said right?
Current.
Yeah, current.
Aaron Judge is probably gonna be one or close to one.
So Aaron Judge is second.
Okay. Breece Hall.
Breece Hall is 9.
He made it. Okay.
Yeah.
Sauce has got to be on there.
Sauce is 7, and it's
Cool.
12. Remember,
That's 12.
it's up
12,
12.
okay.
Yeah.
Let's see if any. There's got to be at least one hockey player on there. I'm trying to think if it's gonna be Trouba. It's probably gonna be Trouba because he's
Nope.
the cap. But no, he didn't make it. Okay. Is there any hockey players on this list?
Yes, 3.
Okay. There's 3.
3.
And they're all Rangers, I'm guessing, right?
That's wild. No, it's
There's
probably
no Rangers on that list. So Jack,
No,
Hughes-
they're
Islanders.
not all Rangers.
Yeah, that's probably at least
I
one
I know it's
Islander.
Jersey Devils, but is Jack Hughes on that list?
Nope.
Okay. Okay. Kreider.
Kreider is, yes, he's 11.
Kreider had to make it. Mika.
Nope.
Oh.
You're missing the obvious one.
Oh,
Hockey.
Igor.
Yeah, he's 3.
He is 3. Good for him.
Yeah.
Igor. And the last one's a non-Ranger.
Hockey-wise, yes.
It's got to be one of the Islanders, right? At this
Yep.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
You're gonna have to get that one.
Brunson
No.
Yeah,
from the
Brunson.
Knicks.
Oh, no, I thought you were talking hockey. No, Brunson's on it.
Who's the Islander?
He's number 6.
Who's the Islander?
Matt Barzal.
Barzal. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
got to be Barzal.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jalen Brunson's got to be on.
Yeah,
there.
Brunson
All right,
is 6.
Aaron Rodgers had to have made the fucking list.
He's 5.
Yeah. And we said Sauce is on it, right?
Yep.
So, okay. Garrett Wilson didn't make it, right?
He did. He's 8.
He did.
Oh wow.
So
a
4
lot of
Jets made the
on
list.
there. That's
Four
sick.
Jets. 4 Jets.
That's all the Jets, or is Quinnen on there too?
No, that's all the Jets. So
There's no Giants on there.
there's one Giant on there.
So who, Jones?
No, it's obvious who it is.
It's got to be Dexter Lawrence.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
Lawrence.
Dexter
Yeah.
Lawrence. Yep.
It's got to be Dexter. Even though Andrew
Yep.
Thomas should be on that list, but it's an offensive lineman, so he's not going to get. How many do we have right now? We have, all right, Juan Soto's got to make it probably.
He's number
Or-
1.
Juan Soto's number 1.
Yeah, that's why when you said does it have to be a certain number of period, I was like, no.
Yeah, it has to be Soto. It's been fucking
Yeah.
insane. Okay.
You guys
Garrett
are
Cole's got to
missing-
make it too. He was a Cy Young winner.
He's the last one. He's number 4.
Gotcha.
Damn.
That's
I don't
so-
know. but it's-
So in order,
Everything
it's Soto, Judge, Shesterkin, Garrett Cole, Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Brunson, Sauce, Garrett, Brees are all back to back to back. Then it's
Cool.
Dexter Lawrence 10, Kreider 11, and Barzal 12.
Barzal barely made it.
Yeah, so interesting list.
surprised he
Interesting
made it.
list.
I mean,
Interesting list. Would I have put it in that order? I don't know. But you know,
Yankees are on fire, dude. They're on fire right now.
The
yeah.
one
But I
thing-
think basketball is a more athletic sport.
Well, I think so Shesterkin, right? Like
The soft
he's
spot.
having a great playoffs right now, So he's
Of course.
he's top of mind, but I think it's recency bias. This is one of the things that
Very recent. Yeah, because
and it's like, Soto's
Well,
won, which is crazy, right? But he's having a great season, so
Yeah.
I mean, 4 Jets, that was the most of any team.
That feels good.
So 4 Jets, 3 Yankees, 2 Rangers, 1 Nick, 1 Giant, 1 Islander. I think the Mets are the only team. The Mets and the Nets were the 2 teams that didn't have anybody on this list, and the Devils, I guess, if you want to count them.
Which
wow,
makes
wait,
sense.
the Mets didn't get it, so
No Alonso, Alonso, no.
I would put Pete Alonso on that list. He's fucking great, dude.
Mhm.
I probably would have put him there at 12 before Barzal. I think I would have put him there at 12, taking my Mets bias out of it. But it's also again the Mets are really bad right now, and I think a lot of this is like recency bias.
Yeah,
and like you said,
So yeah,
don't bet them.
I bet them they make the playoffs to start the year, and holy shit, was I wrong?
Yeah.
I mean, what was I going to say? But I think you're right. I mean, Andrew Thomas could have made this list. Quinnen Williams could have made this list.
And if Barkley was still a Giant, he would have absolutely made the list.
Absolutely, he would have absolutely made the list, 100%. Right? So, I mean, if Darren Waller were healthy and on the Giants, he might have
Not a big
made the
enough name.
list,
Not
right?
a big enough name.
That would be an interesting one. But yeah, I think
No, but he's got the talent when he's healthy, though.
Right,
If
exactly.
he plays a full
Exactly.
season next year, he'll be on next year's list. But back to
Anyway.
football, you guys want to do
Yeah, we
OTAs or?
final thoughts just real quick.
Oh
The
yeah, final
Commanders
thoughts.
decided to keep the name Commanders despite 54% of the polls saying that they hate the name.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
But anyway, that was interesting. Yeah.
They just got a new owner. I don't think he wants to shake things up. You know what I mean?
Too
But-
much, yeah. I think,
The original name is named after a but
yeah, the Redskins. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's better.
Like Commanders is a little bad too, if you think about it. Some woke ideology could say something about, it's too, authoritative,
Yeah.
Yeah. Final thoughts. Go ahead, Monty. I'll let you go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't really feel, too like bad about, the PFF article or anything like that, or the NFL.com article at this point. I think it's good that we're in the top 10 in both situations, regardless of if I don't agree with, where those places are. I think right now, though, the teams that we're saying, who are top 5, top 10 now, that's not going to be who's top 5, top 10 at the end of the season. And at the end of the season, that's the list that matters, not the list today. However, it is good because there will be at least some of those names on the top 10 list now that'll be at the top 10 list at the end of the season. And it's good that we're at least in that conversation. I think we're making, good progress. I think we've done, Joe D, hats off to Joe D and and company in terms of putting together this roster. Now we just got to try to, do the best we can to make that thing gel and make this line, play together well and, get the offense clicking. And then I think the sky's the limit for us. I'm really excited to see, how this team, continues to grow. I was hoping we would have gotten to OTAs today, but, it's fine. It's not the end of the world. Not really, worried about the running back room and inexperience and the Tarik Cohen signing. It's kind of like it's kind of nothing until it's not. So we'll see how that pans out. But it's definitely good. A little bit slower day of Jets news, but I did like that breakdown. It gave me a chance to really dig into the other teams, so I felt really good about kind of our chances, because I'm looking at the other teams. They all have their holes too. Lions, their defense still isn't anywhere near close to ours. They have a good defense, but it's not great. It's not
Okay. It's okay.
Yeah, it's not our defense. They're winning off their offense. You know what I mean? Ravens have their problems. Cincinnati, Houston, all these teams, they still are not, they're not like hands down. Like the only really hands down teams that are still, threats and definitely threats on the board, really San Fran, KC, Eagles, Ravens, Miami is a threat just because they know us well and they have so much team speed and they kicked the shit out of us twice last year. But I think that that's not going to be the case this year. And I hope that we sweep them this year. But yeah, I love where things are going. So go Jets.
Yeah. Real quick, when are you gonna get your friends on the Dolphins fans?
I just got to talk to them. So I'll tell them. I'll tell them not this Wednesday, but the following.
Thank you to our community director of outreach. Okay,
All right, cool.
Our chief compliance officer, Adnan.
Yeah. I think, looking at everything that we talked about today, right? I think it's just a testament to, the direction of this team. And I know it has been, bumpy. It hasn't been perfect. There have been miscues, missteps. But I think looking at this roster compared to where it was just a couple of years ago, light years ahead of where they were, I think Joe D really had, listen, let's be blunt. He got his teeth kicked in last season. Outside of the Aaron Rodgers trade, he got hurt, not his fault. I don't think he made another move that worked out to help last season. And I think that was the best thing for him. He's really built a strong roster here. with like John had said and Monty and I agree with, the only hole you can see on this team right now is safety, which, isn't even that big of a hole. So I think this is a really good team on paper. A lot of opportunity for wins, and just I think what's going to be a very, very special season for this team. Tarik Cohen can only add to that, right? This is one of those really, really low risk moves with absolute high reward. Doesn't have a roster spot guaranteed, so it'll be interesting. And I think that nowhere to go but up from here. I think next week we can definitely dive into OTAs a little bit. Once they're complete this week, and then we can just really dive into it, get some impressions, and definitely get into that a little bit. And then we have mandatory mini camp, a few weeks off, and then we're into training camp. So it's going to be here before we know it. But I think this team is exactly where we want them to be at this point in the offseason.
Yeah. All right. Let's see if I can go without getting interrupted. Basically, it's end of May. We're just getting way closer to football, which is exciting, but also summer is around the bell right now. 4th of July, hot dogs.
I love hot dogs.
I fucking did it. I was gonna go on my rant about meat missiles and wing cylinders and all that, which are basically all the same weird names for hot dogs. You know what? Like, all right. So what's interesting was like last time this year, right? I felt really good going into approaching the season, right? Being a Jets fan because we got Aaron Rodgers, it was very exciting. I feel a little bit more confident this year for some weird reason going in, and I'm a little scared for the season to happen because like God for what I think. Let's just say this: as Jets fans, we've gone through a lot of fucking drama in our fucking lifetimes, right? I would say, the Rodgers Achilles tear last year was it could be very well the number one traumatic thing that's happened to our fucking fandom, right? I mean, there's Vinny's Achilles injury that led to Belichick quitting and going to the Patriots and winning 6 Super Bowls. That was pretty bad. But like, it might be the number one if you really think about it, right? Just in terms of just destroying one season entirely, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably it. I don't think it can get any worse than it did last year, boys and girls, right? But anyway, if you'd like to take plus 2,000 on the Cowboys, like, subscribe, and comment, and then we'll figure out some arrangement where you have to give me like half the money, and then I'll fucking chase you down when you don't pay the rest of it, right? But anyway, until then, and also what I had an idea for a show later, which we'll talk about in the break after. But anyway, until then, fuck the Patriots, fuck the Dolphins, fuck the Bills.
And go Jets.
Let's go Jets. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate you.
Peace.